never thought I'd catch my own sister plotting against me on my daughter's forgotten iPad. But that's exactly how I discovered the two people I trusted most were conspiring to destroy my life. My name is Linda, and 6 months ago, I was just another divorced mum trying to keep my wellness boutique running while raising 2 amazing kids. The store was doing well, Maya was thriving in 7th grade, and little Tommy had finally stopped asking when Daddy was coming home. I thought the worst was behind us. Then Athena started showing up more often. My baby sister, always the perfect one, began dropping by unannounced with green smoothies and unsolicited advice. "Linda, honey, you seem stretched thin," she said one afternoon, perched on my kitchen counter like she owned it. "Have you considered therapy? There's no shame in getting help." I was elbow deep in dinner prep, trying to get Maya's favourite lasagna in the oven before her dance practice. "I'm fine, Athena. Really. Are you, though?" She tilted her head, concern dripping from her voice like honey-coated poison. "The kids mentioned you've been forgetting things, and Jerome told me about the incident at school pickup last week." My hands froze mid-task. "What incident? The one where you supposedly yelled at Tommy's teacher?" She sighed. "Look, maybe you need a break from parenting, just until you're more stable." The marinara sauce suddenly looked too much like blood. "There was no incident, Athena. I haven't yelled at anyone." "Of course not," she patted my arm. "I'm just worried about you, that's all." That night, after the kids were asleep, I found Maya's iPad wedged between the couch cushions. It had been recording for hours, a feature she'd accidentally enabled while doing homework. I almost deleted it, but something made me press play. First came the sounds of dinner prep, my conversation with Athena. Then, an hour later, the front door opened again. Jerome's voice filled the kitchen. "She buy it?" he asked. Athena's laugh, so different from her earlier concerned tone, sent chills down my spine. Hook, line, and sinker. God, she's always been so naive. Perfect. Keep pushing the mental health angle. If we make her look crazy enough, the trust fund's in our hands. "And the kids?" Athena asked. "Once I have custody, who cares? They're just the ticket to the money. Besides, your sister's always been too soft with them." I sat in the dark, clutching the iPad as my ex-husband and sister continued plotting. They discussed fabricating incidents, manipulating my children, even having someone accidentally witness a breakdown they planned to provoke. "It'll look even better if we push an incident, something public," Jerome said. "Maybe at Maya's next recital." "I know exactly how to trigger her," Athena replied. "Remember how she used to get when we were kids? One little push." I stopped the recording. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. Clearer than it had been in months. That night, I drove to the 24-hour pharmacy and bought 3 voice-activated recorders. Then I downloaded every secret recording app I could find. By morning, my phone, laptop, and even my car had become weapons in a war I never wanted to fight. I called my best friend Angelina, the only person I still trusted completely. "Can you come over? I need to show you something." "Now?" she asked. It was barely 6 a.m. "Yes, and Ang, don't tell anyone you're coming, especially not my sister." When she arrived, I played her the recording. Her face went from confused to horrified to angry. "Those manipulative bastards," she whispered. "What are you going to do?" I looked at my sleeping children's photos on the wall. Maya's bright smile, Tommy's missing front teeth. "I'm going to let them think they're winning," I said. "And I'm going to record every single moment until they bury themselves." Angelina squeezed my hand. "You're not crazy, Linda. You never were." "I know," I replied, thinking of all the subtle gaslighting, the careful manipulation I'd endured these past months. But they don't know that I know, and that's going to be their biggest mistake. As I walked Angelina out, Athena's car pulled into my driveway, right on schedule with another morning wellness check. I touched the recorder in my pocket and took a deep breath. The game was on. And this time I knew exactly what game we were playing. Playing broken wasn't hard. When you're actually breaking inside, the tremor in your voice comes naturally. The difference was, now I knew why I was shaking. "I think you're right," I told Athena over coffee the next morning. "Maybe I do need help." Her eyes lit up so fast it was almost comical. "Oh, honey, I'm so glad you're finally listening to reason. I have just the person for you." The psychiatrist's office was exactly what you'd expect, all muted colours and soft music. Dr. Patricia smiled warmly, but something felt off about her practiced concern. "Your sister tells me you've been having episodes," she said, pen poised over her notepad. I wrapped my arms around myself, playing my part. "I don't know. Everything feels overwhelming lately." She scribbled something. "And these outbursts at your children's school?" There it was, the same fictional incident Athena had mentioned. I let my voice crack. I don't remember any outbursts," more scribbling. "Memory issues are common with psychological breaks." That evening, Angelina helped me research Dr. Patricia. It took us less than an hour to find her connection to Eleanor Clark, Jerome's attorney. They'd worked together on 3 previous custody cases. "Look at this pattern," Angelina said, pointing at her laptop screen. "Every time the mother was diagnosed with some kind of mental instability, every time the father got custody. And every time," I added, "there were significant financial assets involved." My phone buzzed. Another text from Athena. "Just checking in, sis. Don't forget your appointment with Dr. Patricia next week. And I picked up your prescriptions." Prescriptions I hadn't agreed to take. "She's moving faster than I expected," I told Angelina. "We need to step up our game." The next day I installed cameras in my living room and kitchen. Small, legal, and very necessary, given how often Athena and Jerome dropped by to help. I wasn't surprised when the footage showed them going through my mail while I was in the shower, or when they took photos of my medicine cabinet. But watching them coach Tommy to tell the nice court lady about Mommy's bad days made my blood boil. "Just say she gets really angry sometimes," Jerome told my 6-year-old. "It's okay. You're helping Mommy by telling the truth." "But Mommy doesn't get angry," Tommy said, confused. "Remember last week, when she yelled about the toys?" "But she didn't... Tommy..." Athena's voice was sweet but firm. "Sometimes grown-ups forget things when they're sick. Mommy's sick, and we're helping her. Don't you want to help Mommy?" I watched my son's face crumple in uncertainty, and something inside me hardened. That night, Angelina came over with a legal pad and 3 backup hard drives. "We need to organise everything," she said. "Make copies. Build a timeline." "There's more," I said, pulling out my phone. "Look what I found on Maya's phone today." The text from Athena glowed on the screen. "If Mommy gets worse, you can come stay with me forever soon." "Jesus," Angelina whispered. "Have you checked the court records?" I nodded. "Athena filed for temporary guardianship yesterday. Claims she's concerned about my escalating mental state and inability to provide stable care." "But you run a successful business. You're the most organised person I know." Apparently my manic spending on store inventory is another sign of my instability. I laughed without humour. They're trying to get control of everything: the kids, the store, the trust fund my grandmother left for the children's education. Angelina started sorting through our evidence files. How much longer are we going to let this play out? I thought about Maya's face when she'd seen that text, about Tommy's confusion as his father tried to make him lie. "Just long enough to give them enough rope," I said. "They want a show? Let's give them one they'll never forget." My phone buzzed again. Athena, "Coming by tomorrow with some papers for you to sign. Just routine stuff about the kids' school. Love you." I showed Angelina the message. $10 says those papers have nothing to do with school. That's not a bet I'd take. She squeezed my shoulder. You know they're going to keep pushing until they force a confrontation, right? I touched the recorder in my pocket, my constant companion now. I'm counting on it, but they forgot something important about me. What's that? I learned to play chess when I was 8. I smiled grimly. And I always think 5 moves ahead. Maya found me in the kitchen at midnight, clutching a mug of cold tea. Her face was streaked with tears. Mom, her voice cracked. Is it true what Aunt Athena said? Are you sick? I set down my mug. Come here, baby. She collapsed into my arms, shaking. She keeps texting me weird things, and Dad says you're not well, that you might hurt us. But you'd never hurt us, right? Never. I pulled back to look her in the eyes. Maya, I need you to listen carefully. Sometimes adults. Sometimes they lie to get what they want. But why would Dad and Aunt Athena lie? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with another text. Maya glanced at it, then pulled out her own phone. Look what she sent me earlier. The message made my stomach turn. Your mum's getting worse, sweetie. Don't worry, though. Daddy and I have a plan to keep you safe. Just remember what we talked about. The judge needs to know everything. What judge? Maya's voice trembled. Mom, what's happening? I held her tighter, choosing my words carefully. Your dad and aunt are trying to take you and Tommy away from me. But I won't let that happen. I promise. Is that why Mrs. Peterson stopped carpooling with us? And why Rachel's mom won't let her come over anymore? The quiet devastation in her voice broke something in me. They weren't just trying to steal my children. They were systematically destroying every relationship I had. People are confused right now, but the truth always comes out, Maya. Always. I could tell the judge the truth, she offered fiercely. I could tell them you're the best mum ever. No, baby, I need you to do something more important. I brushed her hair back. I need you to protect Tommy. Be normal at school. Don't fight with your dad or aunt. Can you do that for me? She nodded, but her eyes were worried. What are you going to do? I'm going to fix this. I just need time. The next morning my father called. Stuart hadn't been part of my life for years, not since he walked out when I was 14. But apparently news travels fast. Linda? His voice was older, rougher than I remembered. I just heard what's happening with Athena. I need to see you. An hour later, we sat in a quiet corner of a cafe 3 towns over. He looked smaller than in my memories, more grey than black in his beard. Your sister, he said, stirring his coffee endlessly. She always had that streak in her, like your mother, always wanting what others had. Why are you here, Dad? He set down his spoon. To help. I know I have no right, but I can testify. Tell them about how Athena was as a child, the manipulation, the lies. Would that even help? You haven't been around for 20 years. No, he admitted, but I have proof of other things. Letters from your mother before she died, about the trust fund, about Athena's episodes. My hand tightened around my cup. Episodes? She was hospitalized twice in her teens, after you left for college. Psychiatric holds for extreme behavior. Your mother kept it quiet, but the records exist. I thought about the recordings on my phone, the careful documentation of Athena's recent concerned visits. Why didn't you tell me this before? Shame, he said simply. I failed both of you, but I won't fail you now. That evening, 3 more friends cancelled plans with me. My business partner called, worried about rumours she'd heard. Even my elderly neighbour, who'd watched the kids for years, started avoiding eye contact. They're trying to isolate you, Angelina said when I called her. Make you look paranoid by making your fears real. It's working. I watched through my window as another mum hurried her child past my house. I'm losing everything. No, she corrected firmly. You're just finding out what was never really yours to begin with. The real friends will stay. My phone chimed with a text from Jerome. The kids mentioned you were up late talking to Maya. Erratic sleep patterns are concerning. Perhaps we should discuss temporary arrangements. Then Athena, Sis, people are worried. Let me help before this gets worse. I forwarded both messages to my evidence folder and took a deep breath. The walls were closing in, but I had something they didn't know about. Time-stamped proof of every move they'd made. Mom, Maya called from upstairs. Tommy's asking why we can't go to the park anymore. I closed my eyes, remembering Stuart's words about Athena's episodes, about patterns repeating. We can go to the park, baby, I called back, and bring the iPad, just in case anyone wants to have an interesting conversation while we're there. The court evaluator arrived exactly on time, clipboard in hand. Ms. Reynolds wore sensible shoes and an expression that said she'd seen it all before. Nice home, she commented, noting the fresh flowers on the table, the children's artwork displayed neatly on the walls. Very organised. I try to keep things structured for the kids, I said, offering her tea. My hands didn't shake at all. She declined the tea but accepted a seat. I understand there are concerns about prescription medication abuse. Yes, I heard about those concerns. I pulled out a folder. Here are my complete medical records, drug tests from last week, and a statement from my primary physician of 15 years. Ms. Reynolds raised an eyebrow, clearly not expecting this level of preparation. And the alleged incident at your son's school? I have emails from his teacher and the principal confirming no such incident occurred. I handed her another folder. Also security footage from the school showing the pickup in question. I requested it as soon as I heard the allegation. She made a note. You seem very thorough. Wouldn't you be if someone was trying to take your children? Before she could respond, the front door opened. Athena walked in without knocking, then froze at the sight of Miss Reynolds. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you had company. Her concerned sister act slipped into place seamlessly. I just wanted to drop off those prescriptions Dr. Patricia called in. What prescriptions? Ms. Reynolds asked sharply. I never agreed to any prescriptions, I said calmly, and I haven't authorized anyone to pick up medication on my behalf. Athena's face fell slightly. But Dr. Patricia said, the doctor I saw once, who works with my ex-husband's lawyer. I turned to Ms. Reynolds. I'd like to report an attempt to obtain prescription medication without my consent. The evaluator's pen moved quickly across her paper. Athena backed toward the door, stammering about a misunderstanding. After she left, Ms. Reynolds stayed another hour, inspecting the house and interviewing Maya. I kept recording everything, just like always. That evening, Angelina brought over takeout and bad news. Jerome filed for sole custody today, the hearing's in 2 weeks. I picked at my cold noodles. Let me guess, he's citing mental instability and paranoia. She pulled out the court documents. Athena submitted a sworn affidavit. It's pretty brutal. I scanned the papers, noting how they'd twisted every normal moment into something sinister. According to them, my successful business was a manic spending spree. My careful documentation was paranoid hoarding of information. Even my clean house was somehow evidence of obsessive behaviours. They really thought this through, I mused. Too bad they didn't think I would too. I opened my laptop and showed Angelina what I'd been working on. A timeline of every interaction, every manipulation, every lie. Audio files, video clips, and text messages, all meticulously organised and backed up. The thing about gaslighting, I said, is that it only works if you can't prove what really happened. My phone buzzed. Jerome, your sister told me about today. You're only making things worse for yourself. Think about the kids. I was thinking about the kids. I was thinking about Maya, who'd started keeping a diary of everything she heard them say when they thought she wasn't listening. About Tommy, who'd asked me yesterday why Daddy wanted him to tell stories about me. How much more evidence do we need? Angelina asked. Just a little more. I played her a clip from yesterday's park visit, Athena on the phone with Jerome, not realising Maya's iPad was recording nearby. The evaluator's coming tomorrow. Once she sees how unstable Linda is, we can push for emergency custody. But I wasn't unstable. No, Angelina smiled. You were perfect. And they didn't see it coming. A knock at the door made us both jump. It was Miss Reynolds again. Sorry for the late visit, she said, but I thought you should know your sister tried to submit additional documentation after I left. Personal photos, diary entries, supposedly yours. I felt cold. May I see them? She handed me a folder. Inside were photos of a messy house that wasn't mine, journal pages in handwriting that almost matched mine, describing paranoid thoughts I'd never had. The thing is, Ms. Reynolds said carefully, these photos show a house with blue walls. Your walls are beige, and the diary mentions events from last week, but the paper, well, it's from a company that went out of business 3 years ago. I handed the folder back. They're getting sloppy. She gave me a long look. Mrs. Morrison, in my experience, people who are actually unstable don't maintain extensive documentation proving they're not. They don't have organised files of evidence, and they certainly don't stay this calm when their world is falling apart. What are you saying? I'm saying my report will reflect what I've actually seen, not what certain parties hoped I would see. She turned to leave, then paused. And, Mrs. Morrison, keep recording everything. Elena Clark's law office screamed money, all glass and chrome and expensive art. Her smile was just as polished as she gestured for me to sit. Mrs. Morrison, I have to admit, I'm surprised you requested this meeting. She tapped manicured nails on her desk. Especially without your lawyer present. I'm not here to negotiate, Elena. I placed a flash drive on her desk. I'm here to give you a chance to withdraw as Jerome's counsel. She laughed, but it didn't reach her eyes. And why would I do that? Because that drive contains evidence of your involvement in fabricating mental health records. Dr. Patricia isn't very good at covering her digital tracks. The smile vanished. She picked up the drive, turning it over in her hands. These are serious allegations. They're not allegations, they're facts. Time-stamped, recorded, and backed up in multiple locations. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed. "Excuse me," she said, answering. "What? Slow down, Jerome. What do you mean, emergency?" I checked my watch. Right on schedule. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Athena, her voice frantic. "Linda! Tommy fell at school. He's asking for you. We're at Memorial Hospital." "Is he okay?" I kept my voice level, letting the recorder in my pocket catch everything. "Just hurry. He's crying for his mommy." I hung up and looked at Eleanor. "Let me guess. Jerome's heading to Memorial Hospital too." She narrowed her eyes. "How did you—" "Because Tommy's not at Memorial Hospital. He's at school having lunch with his friends. I just got a text from his teacher 5 minutes ago." I pulled up the message, showing her the photo of Tommy happily eating his sandwich. "They're trying to manufacture an emergency, hoping I'll have a public meltdown when I get there and find out I've been tricked." Elena's face went carefully blank. "I'm sure there's just been a misunderstanding." "Like the misunderstanding with Dr. Patricia's falsified records, or the misunderstanding about the school incident that never happened?" I stood up. "Keep the drive. Consider it a warning shot." As I reached the door, she called out, "What's your end game here, Linda?" "Justice," I said simply, "and maybe a little calmer." I drove straight to the hospital anyway, parking where I couldn't be seen from the entrance. Sure enough, Jerome and Athena were there, phones out, clearly waiting to film my hysteric arrival. "Got you," I whispered, snapping photos of them. My phone buzzed with another text from Tommy's teacher. A video of him playing at recess, timestamp clearly visible. Angelina called as I was driving back to my office. "You'll never believe what I just overheard at Starbucks." "Try me." Athena was bragging to her friend about how the money's basically theirs already. Said something about using it to open her own wellness centre to help other troubled women like her sister. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Did you record it? Of course, but Linda, she also mentioned having someone watch your house at night to document concerning behaviour. That explained the car I'd noticed parked down the street lately. Perfect. The security cameras will show there's nothing to document except their stalking. How much longer are we going to let this play out? I thought about the custody hearing next week, about the growing file of evidence on my laptop, about Tommy's confused face when they tried to make him lie. Not much longer, I promised. They're getting desperate, making mistakes. Did you send that package to Judge Erickson's office? This morning, just like you asked. Copies of everything, plus the timeline showing how their stories keep changing. Back at my store, I found 3 missed calls from Jerome and a text from Athena. Why would you upset Elena like that? We're only trying to help. You're proving our point about your paranoia. I was responding when Maya called. Mom, Aunt Athena just tried to pick me up from school, said there was an emergency with Tommy. My blood ran cold. But Tommy's fine. I just saw him in his teacher's photos. I know. I showed the office his picture eating lunch so they wouldn't let her take me. She got really mad. Maya's voice shook slightly. Mum, she's never been mad at me before. You did exactly right, baby. I'm proud of you. After hanging up, I called my lawyer. They just tried to take Maya from school without authorization. Yes, I want to file a report. And yes, I have proof. I looked at the flash drive still sitting in my purse. The real one, not the decoy I'd given Eleanor. The one containing every recording, every manipulated text, every failed scheme. The custody hearing was in 6 days. Let them think they were winning. Let them get cocky. The bigger they built their house of lies, the harder it would fall. The courtroom felt smaller than I expected. Maya squeezed my hand as Jerome and Athena took their seats across the aisle, both dressed like they were auditioning for a family values campaign. All rise, the bailiff called. Judge Erickson entered, her face unreadable as she reviewed the papers before her. Elena Clark spoke first, her voice dripping with rehearsed concern. Your Honour, we're seeking emergency custody due to an escalating pattern of unstable behaviour. I sat quietly as they built their performance. Jerome took the stand first, tears in his eyes as he described finding disturbing journal entries and evidence of paranoid delusions. She's changed, he said, voice breaking perfectly. The woman I loved, she's gone. I just want to protect our children. Athena followed, clutching a tissue. It started small. Mood swings, memory problems. Then the accusations started. She began recording everything, claiming conspiracies. And when did you first notice these concerning behaviours? Elena asked. After the divorce, she seemed fine at first, but then... Athena dabbed her eyes. The incident at Tommy's school was when I knew we had to act. Objection, my lawyer said calmly. No such incident has been documented. Sustained, Judge Erickson nodded. Please stick to verified events, Ms. Morrison. Athena flushed slightly but recovered. She's not well. Last week she accused me of trying to kidnap Maya from school. Because you did try to take her, I said quietly, but loud enough to carry. See? Athena pointed at me dramatically. Paranoid accusations. I was just trying to help during an emergency. The emergency with Tommy? Judge Erickson asked. The hospital incident. Yes, exactly. Miss Clark, the judge turned to Eleanor. I have here a report from Tommy's school showing he was in class that entire day with photographic evidence. Would you care to explain? Eleanor shifted uncomfortably. Your Honour, there appears to have been some confusion about... No confusion, I interrupted, standing. Your Honour, I request permission to submit additional evidence. Judge Erickson gestured for me to continue. I pulled out my laptop and the real flash drive. What are you doing? Athena hissed across the aisle. Telling the truth, I said, connecting the drive to the courtroom's audio system. Starting with this conversation from 3 months ago. The recording played crystal clear. Athena and Jerome, laughing about making me look crazy enough to lose custody. Their voices filled the silent courtroom, discussing how to manipulate my children, forge documents, and trigger a public meltdown. That's edited, Jerome jumped up. She's trying to. I have the original files, I cut in, with metadata intact, plus footage from my home security cameras showing you coaching Tommy to lie, text messages where you planned the fake hospital emergency, Dr. Patricia's emails with Elena discussing how to fabricate mental health concerns. Elena stood quickly. Your Honour, I move to withdraw as counsel. Sit down, Miss Clark, Judge Erickson ordered. Mr. Kennedy, Ms. Morrison, approach the bench. As we walked forward, I played one final recording, Athena on the phone with her friend. Once we get custody, the trust fund's ours. Linda's too stupid to realise we've been planning this since before the divorce. Jerome's face went white. Athena burst into tears, real ones this time. Your Honour, I said quietly, there's more, including evidence of attempted prescription fraud, false police reports, and conspiracy to commit custodial interference. I've documented everything. Judge Erickson studied me for a long moment. You seem remarkably calm for someone who's supposedly unstable. I am calm, I agreed, because I'm not the one who's been lying. She nodded slowly, then turned to Jerome. Mr. Kennedy, are you familiar with the penalties for perjury, for conspiracy to commit fraud? He started to speak, but she held up her hand. Save it for your criminal defence attorney. You're going to need one. She turned to the bailiff. Please detain Mr. Kennedy and Miss Morrison pending investigation. Ms. Clark, consider yourself reported to the Bar Association. As Athena was led away, she screamed back at me. You were never supposed to keep the recordings. No, I said softly. I was supposed to break, to crack under the pressure, to prove how unstable I was. Maya ran to hug me as Jerome was handcuffed. Tommy looked confused but relieved. Mom, Maya whispered. Is it over? Judge Erickson cleared her throat. Not quite. Mrs. Morrison, I believe you were about to request full custody and financial protection. I held my children close, feeling months of tension finally start to unwind. Yes, Your Honour, I was. The silence in the courtroom shattered as Athena lunged forward, her carefully maintained mask finally cracking completely. You think you're so smart, she shrieked as the bailiff held her back. You've always been like this, playing the perfect daughter, the perfect mother, making the rest of us look bad. No, I said quietly. I just learned to protect myself. From people like you. Judge Erickson's gavel cracked sharply. Order! Ms. Morrison, control yourself or you'll be removed immediately. Elena Clark stood up, her professional demeanour crumbling. Your Honour, I had no knowledge of the extent. Save it, the judge cut her off. The evidence suggests otherwise. Your emails with Dr. Patricia are particularly damning. I watched as my sister struggled against the bailiff, her designer outfit dishevelled, her mascara running. Jerome sat stone-faced, already mentally calculating his chances of appeal. The court grants full custody to Linda Morrison, Judge Erickson announced. Mr. Kennedy will have supervised visitation only, pending completion of mandatory counselling and anger management. Ms. Morrison, the other Ms. Morrison, will be barred from any contact with the children. You can't do this, Athena screamed. That money was supposed to be mine. Mother always said I deserved... Mother said a lot of things, I interrupted, thinking of Stuart's revelations about Athena's past. But she's not here to manipulate anyone anymore. The judge continued, Furthermore, I'm issuing a restraining order against both defendants. The trust fund will be placed under court protection, with Mrs. Morrison as sole trustee for her children's benefit. Maya gripped my hand tighter as Jerome was led away. Dad's really going to jail. Not for long, I told her honestly, but he won't be able to hurt us anymore. Tommy tugged at my sleeve. What about Aunt Athena? Is she sick like they said you were? Before I could answer, Athena broke free from the bailiff and rushed toward us. You ungrateful little... She never finished. Angelina, who had been quietly watching from the gallery, stepped between us. "That's enough," she said firmly. "You've lost. Accept it." The bailiff recovered quickly, restraining Athena as she thrashed and screamed about betrayal and stolen birthrights. Her words echoed off the courtroom walls, becoming less coherent with each passing second. "I think," Judge Erickson said dryly, "we should add a psychiatric evaluation to the list of requirements." Elena Clark tried one last time to salvage something. "Your Honour, regarding my involvement, save your explanations for the Bar Association hearing next month." The judge shuffled her papers. "Though I suggest you start looking for a new career path." As the courtroom cleared, my father approached hesitantly. "Linda, what you said about your mother was true," I finished. "She helped create this, just like you helped by leaving." He nodded slowly. "I know, I'm sorry." "I'm not," I gathered my children closer. "Everything that happened made me stronger, made me ready for this moment." Outside the courthouse, reporters had gathered. Apparently a conspiracy involving a prominent lawyer and falsified medical records was newsworthy. Angelina helped shield the kids as we made our way to the car. "Mom," Maya asked once we were safely inside, "what happens now?" "Now?" I started the engine. "Now we go home, we order pizza, we start healing." "Can we get extra cheese?" Tommy piped up from the back seat, already bouncing back with the resilience of childhood. "Extra cheese," I promised, catching Angelina's eye in the rearview mirror. She nodded, understanding the unspoken thank you for everything she'd done. My phone buzzed with a text from Eleanor. "This isn't over. Appeals exist." I showed it to Angelina, who snorted. "She really doesn't learn, does she?" "No," I agreed. "But I did." I forwarded the threatening text to my lawyer and Judge Erickson. "And I'm still recording everything." As we drove home, past the familiar streets that had felt so threatening just days ago, Maya leaned forward. "Mum, I heard what Aunt Athena said about you making everyone look bad by being perfect." "Baby, I'm not perfect. I just refuse to let them make me doubt myself." "Like a superhero?" Tommy asked hopefully. "No," I laughed, really laughed for the first time in months. "Like a mom who loves her kids enough to fight back." Angelina smiled. "A mom who kept receipts." "Speaking of receipts," I said, pulling into our driveway, "we should probably take down the extra security cameras now." "Leave them," Angelina advised. "Elena's text proves they haven't learned their lesson yet." I nodded, watching my children run toward our front door. Their safe place. The home that Jerome and Athena had tried to steal through lies and manipulation. "You're right," I said. "Let them try something else. This time we'll be ready from the start." The morning sun streamed through my store windows as I unlocked the door, breathing in the familiar scent of essential oils and fresh flowers. The bell chimed behind me. "We're not open yet," I called out, then turned to see Elena Clark standing there, looking considerably less polished than the last time I'd seen her. "I'm not here as a lawyer," she said quickly. "I've been disbarred." "I know, I read about it in the paper." I continued setting up the display counter. "Why are you here?" "Jerome made bail yesterday." My hands stilled. "I'm aware. The ankle monitor alerts went directly to my phone. He's not well." Eleanor shifted uncomfortably. "He's been talking about making things right, about showing everyone the truth. Let me guess, he's planning something dramatic." She nodded. "I thought you should know. Consider it part of my atonement." After she left, I called Angelina. "Remember when you said they hadn't learned their lesson?" "What happened?" I explained Elena's visit. "Call the kids' schools, activate Protocol 3. Within an hour, both children were safely with Angelina at an undisclosed location. I stayed at the store, waiting. The security cameras were running just like always. Jerome burst in around noon, wild-eyed and dishevelled. "Where are they?" "Not here," I said calmly, pressing the silent alarm under the counter. And you're violating your restraining order. I don't care. He slammed his hands on the counter. You took everything from me. My kids, my reputation, my freedom. No, I corrected. You lost those things when you chose to lie, when you tried to make me look crazy for your own gain. It wasn't supposed to go this far. He ran his hands through his hair. Athena said it would be easy. Just a few documents, a few testimonies. And now Athena's in mandatory psychiatric care. You're facing criminal charges and Elena's career is over. I met his desperate gaze. Actions have consequences, Jerome. I'll tell everyone the truth, he threatened, about how you manipulated us, trapped us. With what evidence? I asked quietly. The truth is already out there, with timestamps and verification. But please keep talking. The cameras are still rolling. He froze, finally noticing the small red lights in the corners. The fight seemed to drain out of him just as the police entered. Perfect timing, I told the officers. I have the restraining order, violation recorded, plus what I believe was an attempt at intimidation. As they led Jerome away, he called back, The kids will hate you when they learn what you did. No, Maya's voice came from the back room. We won't. She stepped out with Tommy, followed by Angelina. My heart stopped. You were supposed to be at the safe house. We were, Angelina said, but Maya figured out what her father might do. She wanted to be here. To show him we know the truth, Maya added firmly. All of it. Tommy ran to hug me. We saw the videos, Mom, the ones of Dad and Aunt Athena being mean. You showed them, I asked Angelina. They deserve to understand, she said. Maya especially. She's old enough. Maya joined our hug. I'm glad you fought back, Mom. I'm glad you showed us how to be strong. The bell chimed again. This time it was Stuart carrying a thick envelope. The last of your mother's papers, he said. Letters, diaries, everything that proves this pattern didn't start with you. He set them on the counter. Though you don't need them anymore. You ended it. No, I said, holding my children close. We ended it, all of us who chose truth over convenient lies. That evening, as we sat around our dining table with Angelina and Stuart, Maya asked, Mom, why didn't you just expose them right away? Why wait? Because sometimes, I said, the only way to fight darkness is to let it fully reveal itself. I didn't burn the house down. I just let them lock themselves in their own fire and brought the judge the recording when they screamed. That's deep, Mom, Maya grinned. That's wisdom, Stuart corrected softly, the kind that comes from surviving storms. Tommy looked up from his pasta. Can we get a dog now, since the bad guys are gone? The simple question broke the heavy moment, making us all laugh. And in that laughter, I felt the last shadows of fear finally fade. Yes, I said, ruffling his hair, I think it's time for something new, something good. Because that's the thing about surviving storms. Eventually, you learn to dance in the rain. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to keep standing, you find yourself surrounded by rainbows instead of shadows. A big dog, Tommy insisted, to protect us. Baby, I smiled. We already know how to protect ourselves, but yes, a big dog, with a very loud bark. Just in case anyone needed a reminder that this house, this family, would never be defenseless again.